For decades, Donald Trump was an American icon. He was particularly popular with American blacks, including rappers and, would you believe, both Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Here's why.
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, well, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness, and his commitment for their success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in '84 and '88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building for the builder of people. Last year he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. Jesse started off by saying, most of the wealth in this country is in the hands of a few. And I thought to myself, is that a bad thing? What's wrong with that, Jesse? But he did have an expression last year, and I was just telling Roger, he had an expression last year, the wall on wall must fall. And you haven't used it today, and I'm very disappointed in this, Jesse, because I thought it was a great expression. And I heard the expression about 14 times, and then he came to me at the end of the session, and he said, listen, I want some office space in your building on Wall Street, because the wall on wall will fall. And I said, it's okay, Jesse, I'll make a good deal with you. I'll get you some space. You'll pay about $40 a foot. And he said, no, I don't want to pay 40. I said, how about 30? No. It was the cheapest deal I ever made in the history of 40 Wall Street. Is that right? He got it for nothing. He's a very tough negotiator.
Strange then that since 2016 he has been portrayed by the mainstream media as the white supremacist in chief. This came about not because Trump suddenly joined the Ku Klux Klan, but because the powerful special interests he railed against were intent on stopping him. This was the speech that allowed them to promote this lie.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico.
They used this to claim Trump had called Mexicans rapists. But listen again to what he actually said, carefully. Mexico, indeed the entire world, is sending people who have problems, big problems. And now those problems are your problems. These thugs are believed to be members of an organised Venezuelan gang. If this is what they do to the police, imagine what they will do to you. Joe Biden, or whoever is really in charge, has encouraged perhaps as many as 10 million illegal immigrants to enter the country. They are also spending billions and billions of dollars to fight a proxy war against Russia and Ukraine. This and their other insane policies are destroying America. Unless Donald Trump or someone like him is elected next November, America will be finished because the country cannot survive another 4 years of Democrat misrule. Race hustlers like the aforementioned Al Sharpton consistently portray blacks as an oppressed and impoverished minority. There are poor blacks, but there are also poor whites. The reality is that most American blacks had never had it so good until recently. Writing in his 1966 book Bondage of the Free, Kent Stefkin pointed out that US Negroes own 4.5 million automobiles, one to almost every 4 persons. In the Soviet Union there is only one car for every 350 people, and most of those are either state-owned or owned by high-ranking officials. The Soviet Union was so poor because it was socialist. Socialism has been extremely successful if you call enslaving people en masse success. Socialism sounds good. The very word sounds good. Who doesn't want to be social? If you're not social, perhaps you're antisocial. The reality is that socialism is big government. It is unelected bureaucrats telling you what you can say, where you can live, where you can work, how much you can earn, whether or not you can travel abroad or even out of state. If you think that is an exaggeration, you must have forgotten already the COVID lockdowns when you were told you had to be vaccinated or quit your job. Much of the success of socialism is due to the manipulation of language which takes so many people in. Then there are the lies. Then there are the false narratives. With black Americans, the most grotesque false narrative is racism. That's one that is easily disproved. Take the issue of police brutality. That's all about racism, right? Take a gander at this short montage and think again.
What you're seeing is being described as excessive use of force captured on video. Baltimore police say Deshaun McGreer was known by this officer who asked McGreer for his ID. Look closely. McGreer shouts something, then slaps away the officer's hand, and that's when the officer begins repeatedly punching McGreer in the head and body. McGreer is pushed to the ground. The officer appears to pounce on top of him.
It was something significantly personal. It had nothing to do with serving and protecting.
McGreer's lawyer claims the officer seen hitting him had previously arrested the 26-year-old for assault and resisting arrest back in June. The video painful to watch for his family.
The police here have resorted to physical punishments for those who breach it. Footage has emerged from Mumbai of them beating motorists with their batons. And there have been many such incidents filmed in multiple locations. At one point, police are seen ordering locals to do squats. And they're not the only ones given humiliating public punishments. Some were made to do press-ups at the side of the street. This is a country of 1.3 billion people. It has far fewer hospital beds than other countries currently overwhelmed by the coronavirus. On Wednesday, it went into a 3-week lockdown. It may have only a little over 500 confirmed cases and a very low death toll compared to other countries, but it fears it could follow China, Italy and Spain. Whether the methods police here are using to stop that from happening are the right ones is another matter altogether.
The man who was caught on camera receiving extreme beating from 3 police officers has died. The man has been identified as Bernard Ngatia from Kiambu County, was a victim of excessive use of force during CORD-organized anti-IEBC demonstrations. The public is now calling for the prosecution of police officers caught on camera using extreme force against protesters during yesterday's demonstration by the CORD Coalition for the removal of commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
The video is silent, but the evidence of abuse is indisputable. 2 plainclothed police officers slap and beat a detained woman inside a Turkish police station.
Police brutality is universal, and even women aren't spared from it. It shouldn't be tolerated anywhere, but the big difference is that when white Americans are on the receiving end, they don't burn down the neighbourhood. Probably because they haven't been infiltrated to the same extent by bad actors. Remember the Black Lives Matter gang? This woman is Patrisse Cullors. During the summer of Floyd, she and her ilk gloated and did nothing to stop the rioting. This is how she reacted when a 5'6" woman went looking for her.
This morning I woke up to Candace Owens being outside of my house with a news crew. She was demanding that I come outside.
Hello. I was just looking to speak to whoever is at this property because it's listed as the Black Lives Matter property. Sir? Hello?
The fact that she's came outside my house and demanded things, harassed me, is unacceptable.
We're not trying to harass you. We'll gladly leave. We're just wondering if we can speak to anybody.
Y'all, I really need my family to be safe. I need to be safe. I need my child to be safe. And this, what happened this morning is not safety.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Black Lives Matter is a scam, one of many, many Democrat scams. The Democrats have used blacks since the 1960s, yet in spite of their broken promises after every election, you keep voting for them, probably because there are so many leading black Democrats. Like their white counterparts, the black Democrats who run many American cities are more concerned with lining their own pockets and serving their special interests than serving you. Then there are so-called progressives, like this woman.
Walgreens is planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th, this time on Warren Street in Roxbury, a community that is 85% black and Latino. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities like the previous closures in Mattapan and Hyde Park, both in the Massachusetts 7th. When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs. These closures are not arbitrary and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination.
What a moron. Walgreens are closing their stores in black areas because of racism. No, they and other large retailers are closing their stores because the Democrats who run these areas have as good as legalised crime, including shoplifting. So why is America being flooded with illegal immigrants? The reason is the Great Replacement. This is what is known as an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Yeah, right. It isn't whites who are being replaced though. Not the white elites. It's you. Remember when Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sent a plane load of just 50 bogus asylum seekers to Martha's Vineyard, island playground of rich Democrats? They were shipped out of there in 46 hours. Not 48, 46. This is one of the palatial estates on Martha's Vineyard, and the mansion of a certain Michelle Obama. Your homegirl, remember? Illegal immigrants are very different from legal immigrants. Legal immigrants often have skills or capital to invest. Most of the illegals flooding into America have neither. Many of them speak little if any English, and we don't even know who most of them are. Would you invite a stranger into your home without identification? Of course not. Yet they are being flown around the country without proper ID. Even if you're not old enough to remember 9/11, you must be aware of how airline security was strengthened after it. Yet suddenly the Democrats don't care. These people are also an enormous drain on resources. The Biden gang can send billions to Ukraine, but what do they have to offer you? Under Jim Crow, many blacks believed themselves to be second-class citizens. Well, guess what? They are now. This is how the people of Chicago see this invasion.
These South and West Side homeowners are angry.
Protect black housing in Chicago.
They believe the city has overextended itself and should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
But the South Side has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades. We have schools that need to be reopened. We have buildings that are abandoned that need to be business operated.
The group says the city has abandoned its Invest Southwest initiative, a Lightfoot-era program that was dedicated to reversing decades of disinvestment on Chicago's South and West sides, promising to align more than $2.2 billion through public and private funding.
We are taxpayers, we're property owners. Our money should go towards fixing our communities.
The city has received more than 15,000 migrants since August 2022.
We have no more room. Y'all are embarrassing Chicago as a whole.
According to analysis by the ABC7 data team, there are more than 20 active migrant shelters across the city, 7 located on the South and West sides.
Whether it's one shelter or whether it's 10 shelters, we're saying the facilities that are there for us, the money needs to be put into those facilities for us. That's what's up. That's what has happened in the United States right now. All this asylum-seeking lie, all this about refugees. No. What's happening is they're emptying out the dregs of their jails into the United States, into our communities. They're junking up our country. And yeah, we feel some kind of way about it because it's our country. It's our country. We're going to get our city back. We're going to stand for our people. We're going to get them out of our communities because they don't deserve to be there.
Not another dollar for the illegals. If the crisis is so bad, the city council members who are so concerned should donate their salaries to the cause like a real public servant should.
So what will happen if the Democrats win, or more likely steal another election? You'll become third-class citizens, that's what. I must stress this is deliberate Democrat policy. How do millions of impoverished people find the resources to trek all the way up from Central America, South America and further afield? It isn't the dreaded cartels who are doing this. It is a plethora of NGOs who are being paid to do so by the American government with taxpayers' money. Your money.
So we first went to a place that had nobody in it. They had already, gotten wind that people were coming. They moved them out, and we drove around, and it's easy to find. It's a place like this. We're right in front of the place. They take down the hotel signs. It looks pretty shady. We decided to go in and see what was going on. The reaction was instant panic. Take a look. What you're seeing is basically an unmarked building. All signage is removed. That's the first sign you know that this is an NGO, a non-governmental organization, in this case, Casa Alitas, who is housing illegal immigrants. Let's go inside to see what happens. We're trying to rent a room.
Oh, no, we don't rent rooms.
Why? Isn't this a hotel?
We don't. Can you guys get off the property, please?
Is this not a hotel?
Can you please exit the property? It's private property.
Whose private property? There's no name outside?
Can you please have them exit the building?
But is this where illegals are being housed with government funding?
Can you please get off our property? All of you, please, or I'm going to call the police.
Please call them.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, what is this?
You need to leave, please.
But I need to know what it is. Oh, Casa Alitas. This is Casa. This is an NGO paid for by government money.
We're not going to answer any of your questions.
Just, can you explain what you do here?
No.
Why is so much secrecy? That's what the American people want to understand. What's happening here? Why?
So I'll just wait with you here until you leave, but we won't be answering any questions. No.
¿Podemos hablar? Tú puedes hablar con nosotros si quieres.
Yeah. No, sorry guys.
Huh?
You guys cannot come into our shelter.
Hey guys, we basically came back this morning. Our camera guy was accosted. They threw rocks at our car. They threw rocks at Congressman Biggs' car, who's here with us as well. A brick was almost thrown at the head of our camera guy. This is not a normal, charity, community service here. They obviously don't want you to know what's going on. They don't want you to know the parameters, the details. I've never seen anything like this. It felt super third world.
One other thing. The Democrats claim the riot that occurred on January 6, 2021 was an insurrection, and they blame Donald Trump for it. The reality is that while Trump knew there would be trouble because many people believed the election to have been stolen, he offered Nancy Pelosi extra security, and she turned this offer down. We also know there were agents provocateurs in the crowd, like this man, who when he was eventually taken to court was given a slap on the wrist. Anyone who challenges the Democrats' lies is called far-right or a conspiracy theorist. If something is happening, it isn't a theory, and the destruction of America is happening before your very eyes. This is the way Joe Biden talks to you.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
This is the way Hillary Clinton does.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
And this is the way Donald Trump does. The same way he talks to everyone else. Everyone he likes.
So I just want to say thank you, Mr. President. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And November the 3rd, 2020, you will be the president of the United States.
You know, my wife, the First Lady, said, this is a long time ago now. It's like 4 years ago. She said, there are two people that she was watching on the internet. They're the most incredible two people she's ever seen.
Wow.
I said, big deal. What is it? No, she said, you have to see this. And I saw it, I guess, for almost 5 years. And I watched them, and they had such a spirit. And they were for me before I was even running. they were so early. And you have been such great friends.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. And Candace, I will say that you're another one. She saw you too. She said, I just saw somebody with the fastest, sharpest mouth and mind, by the way. You know, I know a lot with fast mouths, but they don't have it. And I said, let me take a look. And I looked. Yeah. And it was a long time ago already. You were really young. You were really young. But we appreciate it. We appreciate everybody in this room.
Donald Trump didn't need to run for president in 2016. Any other man of his age and station would have spent his time playing golf, hanging out with old friends and his grandkids. Unlike Barack Obama and almost every president before him, Donald Trump left the White House a poorer man than he went in. He gave up his golden years for America, and his enemies are determined to destroy him for it. His enemies are your enemies. I could say a lot more about how the Democrats are planning to confiscate your guns, how they're spying on your bank accounts, and how they are indoctrinating your kids with pornography in schools. But if you haven't got the message by now, you never will. If you vote for the Democrats, you won't get what you want. You'll get what you deserve.